All right, guys, yesterday, Andy Reid, Mahomes, Nick Bolton, and Mecole Hardman spoke with the media on the first day of OTAs, and these interviews were almost an hour long in totality, so I went ahead, listened through them all, dissected them for you into what hopefully is going to be about a 15-minute or shorter video of everything of importance that was discussed. So let's talk about it, but first, how about those? What's up, everybody? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL overall. So make sure to sub if you're new, hit that like button, and let's get into these pressers from yesterday. Andy Reid started it off saying OTA Phase 1 has begun, and they are doing all the meetings virtual this year, at least for now. He said there are players here in KC working out, and then Mahomes has the new receivers and the rest of the skill players on offense with him in Texas right now. He thinks it's important that Mahomes gets in this time with these guys, and with the meetings being virtual, he doesn't need them right here next to him right now. He trusts Mahomes and what they are doing out there to build together. Obviously, Kelsey is there too, a true vet in the game. So yeah. And in the meantime, Reid himself and the coaches are evaluating their playbook and looking to retool and add to it. They're doing that in the mornings and have been spending the afternoons doing draft evaluations of players that Brett Veach wants them to look at. He then addressed the Tyreek Hill situation as far as keeping Mahomes in the loop on it all. And he said he actually did the same thing with Kelsey because they were all very close and there's no point in beating around the bush about things like this. He says it's important for him to be upfront about these things with them. Things like this happen in the business, and he did say he trusts Brett Veach and how he handles the cap and complimented the Chiefs ownership, saying they understand things like this and are sharp with it. And with that being said, he pivoted to the offensive look with Tyreek being gone, saying that they will try to use some of these guys in ways that they use Tyreek, but ultimately they aren't going to force anything that's not there and will cater to the receivers' individual strengths and work around that. The new guys are definitely bigger, talking about MVS and Juju, and although it wasn't a necessity to get bigger, he says, he's excited for the opportunities that brings. And I will say this real quick, I think he's blowing a bit of smoke here when he said they didn't have to get bigger, making it seem like size wasn't an important part of why they signed receivers like Juju and MVS. I think it played a definite factor in why they are here and would almost bet my house, keyword almost, that this is an intentional move and change of direction by the Chiefs with a focus on size and physicality and speed as well, but that's always been there. He then, speaking of speed, shifted to Mecole Hardman and said he gives us a nice skill set of speed and aggression when the ball is in his hands. So his goal is to continue to find ways to get that ball into his hands in a variety of ways. Coach then gave a couple of injury updates. Lucas Niang has done a nice job rehabbing so far, and he's happy with the progress. Gave no real timeline, though, for a return, just saying they will continue to monitor things as they progress. And he also talked about Chris Jones and his wrist, saying he's been in town lifting and feeling pretty good. He did not confirm, though, whether or not he had surgery on the wrist, so I'm not actually sure if that needed to get done or not. If it did, I will let you all know, but as of right now, no idea. He was asked about MVS and what he sees in him because Marquez said he feels the Chiefs are going to use him for more than just a deep vertical threat, and Reid said,
I think Marquez can do a lot of different things. He's got good stop-start ability. He's a big target. He can run your slant games. He can take your deep throws. He can run those intermediate routes. He's got a good feel in space, so he gives us a little flexibility in there.
From there, he shifted to the upcoming season, reflecting on the problems from last season, saying he was going to use those to adapt for this upcoming one, touching on the draft and being able to use some of those new players to fill spots as well as free agents and the guys they've already brought in so far. And then it was Patrick's time. He was immediately asked about the changes that have happened and what it means to him with D-Rob Pringle and Tyreek, as well as Mike Kafka, who was previously his QB coach and passing game coordinator, and now is the OC for the Giants. But Mahomes said he was confident in the foundation that is still there, even with all those guys gone, and they have Matt Nagy back. Mecole is still there, and Kelsey and his leadership as well. Tyreek being gone is something they will definitely have to adjust to, but he's confident that guys are going to step up, and they will find production in other ways. Mahomes was asked about MVS and Juju and what it's been like working with them so far, and he said,
but to have big physical receivers that can still run, that can still catch the ball over the top, but at the same time, there's been balls I've even thrown while we're throwing just kind of out there routes on air type stuff. And I'm throwing it high, thinking it's an overthrow, and those guys are catching it easy. So just having that size, I think, will be different. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be something that we can be very useful for us during the season.
So yeah, it's previously been speed and beating guys over the top, but this certainly brings a whole different flair to the offense. And when asked about his initial thoughts to the Tyreek Hill trade, he said even though he was kept in the loop and is often kept in the loop about the team's direction as a whole by Veach and Reid, kind of comes with the territory of being the quarterback, the helm of the team. But he said in spite of all of that, he was still shocked by the trade happening. This is someone he's built a solid friendship with over the last 6 years, so he will miss that aspect of it even more than the on the field part, the friendship, the time they spent together, things like that. But he said now it's time to turn the page and focus on the future with the new receiving core. And he's been training with those guys this offseason in Texas, and he's focused on building a bond and developing that chemistry with everyone. It's basically a brand new receiving room, so they started from the ground up and have been working on the basics, things that they kind of skipped over last year with most of the receivers on the team being vets in some capacity. And yeah, they're actually staying in Texas over the first phase of OTAs with Coach Reid and company's permission and building out there together.
As I kind of talked to Coach Reid and EB, they kind of informed me, they're like, if you want to get everybody down there, then we can do the virtual these first few weeks and kind of keep everybody together. Because like that, you're off the field. I'm going to lunch with these guys. I'm working out with these guys as well, not just throwing. So you kind of build those relationships that way.
Plus, it does help that Texas's weather has been much nicer than KC, especially lately. The weather here has been kind of cold for April, to be honest, but it's pretty cool that they are trusting Mahomes and Kelsey with these guys, and I think they're going to do really well building together by doing this. Anyway, Mahomes said he's interested in how defenses will be playing them this year because you do have deep threats still with MVS and Mecole, but also bigger guys like MVS, he's like 6'3", 6'4". Then you have Juju and Travis that can catch in the middle of the field as well. So Mahomes is excited because defenses, in theory, won't know where the ball is going every single play anymore with there being so many great weapons out there, plus the fact that they have an amazing offensive line, and he's excited to run the ball more as well. He was then asked specifically about Hardman's role with Tyreek being gone, and Mahomes is excited for Mecole this year. He doesn't need to try to be Tyreek in any facet. He just needs to be himself, which is a great football player, and he knows he's getting better and better each season. I will say this, Mahomes seemed really excited about the change in the receiving core and just how he's going to be able to play offense next season. He seemed pretty excited about being able to shift from like a heavy focus on a couple guys, Kelsey and Hill, to being able to spread that weight around kind of equally. So yeah, that's definitely worth noting there. And then Mahomes did weigh in about the media, kind of going in on Mecole about him not being around, saying that it was a bit overblown with the past couple of years being COVID, and Mecole has been here this offseason and always works hard. He then gave a little bit of a plug about the golfing event that he has coming up. It's going to be him and Josh Allen versus Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and that is happening June 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern time on TNT, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. He basically said the old men are going to lose, and speaking of losing, that's something Mahomes does not plan on doing in the AFC West this year. He knows teams have been stacking up, and their schedule is a difficult one overall, but he said he wouldn't want it any other way. He wants to go out there and prove the success that they've been having and show that it's real here in Chiefs Kingdom. Nick Bolton was up next, addressing the main thing he's focused on improving this offseason is zone coverage, as that's what he felt was lacking the most last season. So he's been studying film, nitpicking concepts, stuff like that. He was asked about his relationship with Hitchens and if they've stayed in contact since his release, and Bolton said, "That's my guy." They've stayed in contact, and he reaches out at least once a month to Hitchens and checks in on him. He said whether Hitch comes back to KC or finds another team, he will do great. And then he said Hitchens is a hard guy to replace, but it's on him and Willie now to step up, be vocal where they can, but not overstep. He wants the leadership there to come naturally, and he learned a lot in his rookie year, especially letting the game come naturally to him on the run plays and not pressing too much. He's more focused this year now that he has a season under his belt, and his goal is to be the best football player he can be for the Chiefs. He was asked about if any of the defensive guys work out together in the offseason, and his answer basically was that they're pretty scattered throughout the United States during the offseason, but they do get work in together at different times and train at the facility together in, different small groups, but they don't post a lot about that on social media. A couple reporters asked him about leadership roles and who's going to be wearing the green dot this upcoming season. Bolton said they haven't really discussed that, and most conversations have been on how to improve together as a unit. They have new linebackers and Brandon Daly as their new linebackers coach, so it's all about developing relationships right now, though he does recognize that he's going to be a leader on the team with Hitch gone, but complimented Willie Gay and said it's going to be great working together alongside him. As he said, Willie helps to push him to be the best version of himself. So yeah, it's really a collective effort at the moment. And Nick said that they will be relying heavily on the veterans, especially on the D-line, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, as the season goes on. And then it was Hardman's turn. Mecole said training's going good. They're just getting their feet wet in Texas, knocking the rust off a little bit and trying to prepare and get timing down as they get ready for OTAs. And after being asked about his mindset and approach with Tyreek gone, he said,
basically, I think it's just being prepared for the opportunity, just, working. So, because, I think we're going to have an offense where we're going to spread the ball a lot, around a lot. So I think it's just more so being prepared for whenever those, targets or whatever come your way.
When they get back to training camp, he's going to take a look at the game plan, but he's prepared to be ready for whatever comes his way. He's aiming to improve his route running, yards after catch, because
winning in generation type of player has left a team. So, somebody got to step up and fill the role, or, most of us got to step up and try to, fill their voice.
And he did say he will miss Tyreek. It's a definite hit to the offense, but he knows the opportunity for him is bigger, and he wants to be ready for whatever the coaches have planned for him. He was asked if he felt like the odd man out with Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey normally getting most of the media attention throughout the years, and he laughed a bit at that and said, whoever you are, man. Like, he did not like this question, but then he said Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey was a three-headed monster that's going to be talked about, and regardless of that, he's going to put his head down, get to work, and do what he's supposed to do. Media attention or no media attention. He's now the veteran receiver on the team as far as experience with Mahomes goes. We won't include Kelsey here since he's technically a tight end, but Mecole is excited to continue to build that connection no matter what his next role looks like. He was asked about MVS and what it's like training with him. He responded by saying,
"Oh yeah, my Chris, MVS, that boy fast. I didn't know he was that fast. He's definitely moving. A bigger receiver, taller receiver that got some speed on him. I think it'll be very beneficial to our offense for sure."
He did comment about Juju complimenting his blocking ability and his size, and even though he hasn't worked out with Juju personally yet, he's excited for all three of them to put in work on the field, saying the combo of all three of them is going to be a great one. One reporter asked him about his thoughts on the situation with him not being there in the offseason to train with Mahomes and that getting blown out of proportion online, and he said,
"Definitely blown out of proportion for sure. I don't know sometimes what people be thinking. I've been working out the whole offseason. Not to mention, like, when we go to OTAs, training camp, I'm going to have 4 months with Pat to throw, And I think, honestly, they got to understand that people have individual lives as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be on Pat ass all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
And I love that response. He said he already planned on being there the week after, and they just had earlier workouts planned with the other guys. So yeah, that confirmed my suspicion that Mahomes was bringing guys out in waves and focusing up with some of them in smaller phases. And I'm excited for OTAs to progress and for the next phase of them, as well as the draft. There's certainly a lot going on here in Chiefs Kingdom, but be assured that I will keep you all up to date every step of the way. Make sure to sub for more daily news like this, and check out this video here from the previous day's news in case you missed it. And until next time, let's go. How about those